I need to tell someone what happened to me last summer in the Ozark Mountains. The police didn't believe me. My friends think I had some kind of breakdown, and my therapist keeps pushing medications. But I know what I saw. I know what happened in that cabin. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I'm a freelance photographer from Kansas City. Last June, I was going through a rough patch. My long-term relationship had just ended. Work was slow, and I just desperately needed to get away from everything. A friend of a friend told me about this cabin in the Ozarks that I could rent for cheap for a week. It was isolated, off the grid, perfect for someone who wanted to disappear for a while. The cabin was about 30 miles outside of Mountain View, Arkansas, down a series of increasingly rough dirt roads. The owner, an elderly woman named Mrs. Caldwell, met me at a gas station to hand over the keys since the cabin didn't have a proper address. Cell service is spotty out there, so warn it. Met her weathered hands shaking slightly as she gave me the keys, and the landline hasn't worked in years. You sure you want to be that isolated? I assured her I did. That was exactly what I was looking for. Well, there's just one thing, she said, hesitating. The previous renters left early, said they heard things at night, probably just animals, deer or coyotes. But I wanted to mention it. I thanked her and drove out to the property. The cabin was small but clean. One bedroom, a tiny kitchen, and a living area with a stone fireplace. It sat in a clearing, surrounded by dense, imposing forest. The nearest neighbor was at least 5 miles away. For the first 3 days, it was perfect. I hiked during the day, took photos of the incredible landscape, and spent my evenings reading by the fire. No phone, no internet, no distractions, just me and nature. On the 4th night, I heard the knocking. It started around 2 in the morning. 3 slow, deliberate knocks on the front door. I woke up immediately, my heart pounding in my chest. I just lay in bed, frozen, listening. Maybe I dreamed it. Then it came again. Knock, knock, knock. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight, creeping toward the living room. Who's there? I called out, trying to keep my voice steady. No answer, just silence. I looked through the peephole. Nothing but darkness and trees. No car, no person, nothing. I convinced myself it was a branch hitting the door, or maybe an animal. I went back to bed, but I didn't sleep well. The next night, it happened again. Same time, 2 a.m. Same pattern. 3 slow knocks. This time, I didn't hesitate. I threw open the door, ready to confront whatever animal or prankster was messing with me. Nobody was there, but in the dirt in front of my door, illuminated by my flashlight, were footprints. Bare footprints. Human footprints, and they were wet, leaving dark, muddy impressions in the dry dirt. The prints led away from the door and into the forest, but only for about 10 feet. Then they just stopped, as if whoever made them had simply vanished into thin air. I went back inside, locked the door, and pushed the heavy couch against it. I didn't sleep at all that night. The next morning, I decided to leave. This was too weird, too unsettling. I started packing my things, planning to cut my trip short and head back to Kansas City. That's when I found the photographs. They were in the kitchen drawer, tucked under some old dish towels. Polaroids, maybe 20 or 30 of them, and they were all of the cabin. Pictures taken from the woods, looking in through the windows, shots of the front door, the side of the house, even one taken from directly outside my bedroom window. But what made my blood run cold was the dates. They were written on the bottom of each Polaroid in faded ink. The most recent one was from 2 nights ago, the night of the first knocking. Someone had been watching me, photographing me, and they'd left these pictures here for me to find. I grabbed my car keys and ran outside, not bothering to pack anything else. I just needed to get out of there. My car wouldn't start. The engine turned over but just wouldn't catch. I tried again and again, panic rising in my throat. I popped the hood. The spark plugs were gone. Someone had removed them. I was stranded, 30 miles from the nearest town, with no cell service and no way to call for help. I ran back inside the cabin and locked myself in. I pushed furniture against both doors and checked every single window to make sure they were locked. Then I searched the entire cabin for any kind of weapon. I found a kitchen knife and an old hammer from a toolbox under the sink. The sun was going down. I knew whoever was doing this would come back when it got dark. And I was right. At exactly 2 a.m. the knocking started again. But this time it wasn't just on the front door. It was on the back door too, and then on the windows. All of them at once, like there were multiple people surrounding the cabin, all knocking in perfect synchronization. Knock, knock, knock. A pause. Knock, knock, knock. Leave me alone, I screamed. I'm calling the police. The knocking stopped. For a moment, there was total silence. Then I heard something that made my skin crawl. Singing. A woman's voice, soft and melodic, singing an old folk song I recognized from my childhood, Down in the Valley. My grandmother used to sing it to me, but this version was wrong. The words were different, darker. Down in the valley, valley so low. Hang your head over, hear the wind blow. Hear the wind blow. Dear, hear the wind blow. Hang your head over, hear the wind blow. The voice circled the cabin as it sang, moving from window to window. I could track its progress by following the sound. It was just one person, I realized. One person moving around the cabin, creating the illusion of many. When the singing reached my bedroom window, it stopped. Then came a whisper, so quiet I almost couldn't hear it. I know you're in there, Sarah. They knew my name. I pressed myself against the wall, gripping the knife, trying not to make a sound. How did they know my name? Had they gone through my things? My wallet! I've been waiting for you, the voice continued. Mrs. Caldwell always sends me someone. Every few months, someone alone. Someone who won't be missed right away. Mrs. Caldwell, the woman who rented me the cabin. Was she part of this? The others tried to leave too, the voice said, now moving to the living room window. But they never make it. The roads out here are so confusing. So easy to get lost. And I know these woods better than anyone. I realized with horror that this had happened before. Other renters, other victims. I'm going to give you a choice, Sarah, the voice said. You can open the door right now and let me in. Make this quick, or you can wait until I decide to come in on my own. That will take longer. Be messier. I didn't respond. I couldn't. My voice was frozen in my throat. I'll give you until dawn to decide. Then nothing. No more singing. No more knocking. Just the sound of wind in the trees. I sat against the wall, Kanifinand, watching the windows as the night slowly passed. Every shadow looked like a person. Every creak of the cabin settling sounded like footsteps. When the first light of dawn started filtering through the windows, I heard a car engine. For a moment, I thought it was the person from last night coming back. But then I heard voices. Multiple voices. Saramich, you in there. This is Sheriff Dawson. I nearly collapsed with relief. I moved the furniture away from the door and opened it to find 3 police officers standing there, along with Mrs. Caldwell. Oh, thank God, Mrs. Caldwell said. Your mother called me when she couldn't reach you, said you always check in, and when you didn't, she got worried. Are you all right? I told them everything. The knocking, the footprints, the photographs, the singing, the threats. I showed them the Polaroids. The sheriff examined them, his face grim. These are definitely concerning. We'll investigate. But I have to tell you, we've never had any reports of problems at this property before. That's not true, I said. The person last night said there were others, other renters who disappeared. Mrs. Caldwell looked genuinely shocked. I've been renting this cabin for 15 years. Never had anyone disappear. Some folks leave early, sure, but they always tell me first. They searched the property. Found nothing. No footprints, though it had rained overnight and washed everything away. No signs of forced entry or tampering with my car. When they checked under the hood, the spark plugs were there, exactly where they should be. The mechanic they called said my car started fine. They couldn't find any evidence that anyone had been there. The sheriff suggested that the isolation, combined with stress from my breakup, might have caused me to experience things that weren't real. Suggested I see a doctor. I left that day and never went back. But here's the thing, they don't know. The thing I haven't told anyone because it sounds too crazy. When I got home and unpacked, I found one more Polaroid in my camera bag. One I know I didn't pack, one that wasn't there when I showed the photos to the police. It's a picture of me sleeping in the cabin bed, taken from inside the bedroom. The date on the bottom is from my last night there. And in the background, barely visible in the darkness, is a figure standing in the corner of the room, watching me sleep. I still have that photograph. I look at it sometimes, trying to convince myself it's fake, that I'm remembering wrong, that maybe the sheriff was right and I imagined everything. But I know what I experienced in that cabin. I know someone was there. And I know that somewhere in the Ozark Mountains, there is a cabin where something terrible is waiting for the next person who wants to get away from it all. I just hope they're smarter than I was. I hope they leave after the first knock